Hi, my name is Kristin. This is Kristin Kraves Books, and welcome to my Gothtober TBR. So there are an overwhelming amount of readathons happening in October, which just makes sense. There's something about this spooky season that is so inspiring. There's so many creative things that you can do for readathons and that people are doing. I am in awe of everybody's creativity. I just love the entire community. I wish I could do all of the readathons. There's a lot of friends and people that I love hosting readathons this year in October, and I want to participate in them all, but I just can't. And I thought, okay, I will participate in a few, try and overlap the prompts, and that just gets too confusing for me. I get overwhelmed, and then I just won't do any of it. And I know that from personal experience. I've tried to participate in readathons many times and overlapped in multiple readathons at once. It just doesn't work for me. And then I go into a slump and I won't do any of it. And part of why I joined the book community in BookTube is because I wanted to be part of it. I wanted to meet people, gush about books. So I thought the best thing for me to do to stay focused and motivated is to just focus on one readathon. And again, that was hard to choose, but I settled on Gothtober, hosted by Olivia from Olivia's Catastrophe, Hannah from Ladette M, and Tish from Little Wolf. I will leave all their announcement videos for Gothtober down below, but I was just in awe of everything they did for this readathon. They created a game. It's a website that you go to and you answer questions. You're going through this scenario, and based on the answers that you give, those are the prompts that you get. So everybody gets different prompts based on their answers, and I went through it a few times. The first scenario I went through is the prompts that I kept and the ones I'm going to use, but of course I was curious. I wanted to see what else, other scenarios. I wanted to see all the work they put into it, and it was brilliant and genius. And you have to go play the game and participate. Just play the game, even if you can't participate right now. You have to just see the work that went into it. I was so impressed by this. And then I will leave their Twitter linked down below as well, because they've got a lot of events going on throughout the month. October 1st, I know there's an arts and crafts live show happening. I think it's every Monday and Thursday, or Tuesday and Thursday. I will leave it all linked down below. They're doing reading sprints twice a week, and then an event of some kind on Saturdays, a watch along party, things like that. It's just so well thought out and interactive, and I couldn't pass it up. So that is the readathon I decided to join. And let me know down below what readathons you're participating in. If you're doing Gothtober, what prompts did you get? Because I'm nosy that way, and let's dive into it. So I'm going to put up just briefly all the prompts that I got so you can see this is how it comes up after you go through the scenario. You get your list of prompts. And the first one I got was to read a gothic mood read book, and that was easy for me because I just got this arc from HarperCollins Canada. They are the best. I just love them. And it's back to HarperCollins Canada. It's interesting when you actually know the team that works there. I don't think anybody does it quite like them, so I appreciate them so much. And the fact that they sent me one of my most anticipated books of the year, and I didn't even know it was coming. So that's amazing, because CJ Cook wrote The Lighthouse Witches, which came out last year, was one of my best books of last year, reminding me why I love gothic fiction as much as I do. So to have a new book from her is fantastic. And this is The Ghost Woods. And look at the tagline on here. It says, deep in the woods, someone is watching them. And then on the back it says, deep in an ancient forest stands a house, a place shrouded in old stories of ghosts, of witches, and of a child who is not quite a child. Now the woods are creeping closer. And there's something about changelings. If that child is a changeling, that really gets to me. Spooky houses, spooky forest, CJ Cook's incredible writing style, and the way that she creates atmosphere. I just know that this is going to be a winner for me. And I know it says mood read, but I just know this is what I'm going to be in the mood for. And October 1st, as soon as October 1st comes, by the time I post this, October 1st will have already passed. So you know I'll be deep into this, and I'm sure loving every second of it. And then my next prompt is to read a book that has backstabbing or betrayal as a major theme. And I knew instantly what book I was going to pick, because a few videos back, I will leave this video linked down below if you're interested, I talked about vampire novels, my favorite ones, and then a ton of them that are on my radar. And one that I was really intrigued by is The Lost Girls. And this is said to be like a sapphic John Tucker Must Die with vampires. So if that doesn't sell you on it, I don't know what will. And if you know anything about the movie John Tucker Must Die, you know it's about these girls coming together to get back at a guy that used them all, that was dating them all, and they all found out and they get together, and it's kind of a fun movie. And this is about these vampires who all get together to get revenge on the vampire that turned them all and then left them behind, kind of abandoned them. And I heard it's kind of campy and fun, so I think I'm gonna have a good time with that one. Have the audiobook downloaded from Scribd, so I can't wait to dive into it. And I said I was gonna read a few vampire novels in October, so that one is high priority. And then my next prompt was a beautiful book, which was easy. I am drawn to beautiful books, so that is who I am. I think my fairy books could have worked, but I wanted to go with something witchy, something spooky, something good for October, so I settled on Her Majesty's Royal Coven by Juno Dawson, and I feel like a lot of people are reading this right now. This might be a bright, obnoxious cover to some, but I love it. The words on the spine are really cool, but really sold me on this one was Under the Dust Jacket. Look how fun that is. This is just beautiful to me, and I have heard amazing things about this. And again, I'm gonna read you the back because this is one of the best synopsis I've ever read. And it says, through joining Her Majesty's Royal Coven, you can become a part of an illustrious witching legacy stretching back to her founding sister, Anne Boleyn. We serve Gaia through service to the planet, the country, Her Majesty, the Queen, and the people. We work as a team to support the UK government in the handling of supernormal events and incidences, to uphold the tradition of witchcraft in the United Kingdom, and to safeguard our continued legacy. Her Majesty Royal Coven is a place for women and girls to reach their full potential, develop their gifts, and enjoy the protection and sisterhood that only an official coven can provide. So I think that is going to be perfect. I wanted to read this anyway, so I was happy to be able to fit that into one of the prompts. I also wanted to say that you could double up with these prompts, but I thought I'd challenge myself and not do that. So the next prompt I have is a book by a BIPOC author, and I went with 7 Days of June. Even though this is not like spooky or anything, it's a romance. I know I'm gonna need something lighter to break up all the spooky vibes I've got going on, and I've been wanting to read this ever since I got my hands on a copy. So many people have recommended this book to me. This is by Tia Williams, by the way, and the main character has migraines, and I do as well, so I've heard that the representation of that is fantastic in here, and a lot of people have said that this is their favorite romance of all time. So I want to read what everybody's saying is their favorite, and I just have a really good feeling about this. 7 days to fall in love, 15 years to forget, and 7 days to get it back again. So obviously second chance romance, which I've kind of been into lately. I'm fine with that, so we will see. I think I'm gonna love that one, and happy to put it on this TBR to break up some of the spookiness I have going on. My next prompt is to read an LGBTQ book, and I was excited about this one too because I put A Dowry of Blood for this prompt because I don't have a copy with me right now, but I will get my hands on one. And this was part of my 12 challenge. Remember the 12 challenge at the beginning of the year? This was put on my list. It's also a vampire book. I talked about it in my vampire video, wanting to read it. I actually read Dracula last year and was surprised by how much I enjoyed it, so I'm excited at the prospect of like a Dracula retelling told from his brides and how his brides see Dracula and want to get revenge on him. And I think they have sapphic relationships as well. And I don't think I've seen a terrible review for this at all. I don't think I've seen one bad review of A Dowry of Blood, and that says something. So let me know if you read that one, what you thought, and I'm really looking forward to that one. A perfect one to add to my TBR. Okay, this next prompt was hard for me, and it's not because I don't like this trope, it's because I do. And I feel like I've read a lot of the books that are recommended that fit into this trope, and that is to read a book with a sentient house. I love books. I feel like a lot of gothic fiction does have that trope, and I love that. And when the house itself almost feels like a character and comes alive, I crave that in October, and I've read a lot of them. So I have read Mexican Gothic, I have read Rebecca, I have read Just Like Home that came out this summer. I read that. There are so many other ones that I have read and loved. I haven't read The Hacienda. I almost put that on this list, but I was going through some recommendation posts, and I settled on The Haunting of Ashburn House by Darcy Coates because I've heard good things about Darcy Coates' books, and I discovered that a large portion of her books are on Kindle Unlimited, and I had no idea. So that was a great discovery when putting this list together, and I've downloaded it from KU, and I hope I love it. But I've heard a lot of Darcy Coates books have like sentient houses, so I think that's gonna work for me. And it says, the opening line of the synopsis says, there's something wrong with Ashburn house. So right there it tells you that this house is sentient, and I think it's like about a girl coming into this house. She's inherited this property, and maybe there are ghosts and there are secrets within the house, so we'll see. But I have a good feeling about it. That is so my vibe, so I appreciate that prompt pushing me to find even more books with this theme, because I just feel like I always pick those up and I'm drawn to them. And now I have a list of Darcy Coates books I want to read. The next prompt is to read a book that has a murder mystery, and I'm gonna go for an October release. And this is The Spare Man, and this just sounds so good. And there's something about sci-fi this time of year that really works for me and I'm drawn to. And this is a murder mystery set on a spaceship. And it is like an intergalactic spaceship that travels from the moon to Mars. And this woman is on her honeymoon. I think she's like famous, and maybe she's an inventor, and she's on her honeymoon. Somebody dies and her husband is arrested. So of course she has to find the real killer. So this just sounds perfect, a little bit different from your typical murder mystery. It's got that sci-fi element in it that I'm looking for, so I had to include it. And I'm always open to reading new releases, as you know. Okay, 2 more prompts. This one is to read a book that has multiple survivors. This one was hard because I haven't read the book, so I don't really know how many survivors there will be on the end. So I'm making an educated guess on this one, and I'm going with Clowns in a Cornfield, which was on my fall TBR, and I still need to work up the nerve to listen to it because clowns are my biggest fear. I hate clowns. I've always hated clowns. They are a nightmare. The whole thing is terrifying to me, but I want to scare myself this October, so I'm going to try it. And so many people actually really love this book, and because the sequel came out in August, I'm going to assume multiple people from the first book survived. This is just an educated guess. I could be wrong. Let me know if I'm wrong in the comments down below, but that is my assumption. That is the one I'm going with. I know that this is a bit of a slasher, so it is going to be a survival story, I assume. So here we go. That's the one that I'm going with. Cross your fingers that it goes well for me, because I'm such a scaredy cat when it comes to clowns. I read all this horror, all that stuff. Not movies. I'm terrible at watching scary movies. I hate that. But I can read anything. But clowns, just the thought gives me chills. I hate them. And then my last prompt is to read a heavy book, and this is perfect. I don't know if they mean heavy as it weighs a lot, because this weighs a lot, or the subject matter is more heavy. So I went with something that is both, and this is Babel, obviously, by R.F. Kuang. And again, this is also a beautiful book, so it could have worked for that. This is the Fairy Loot edition. I just got this. It is stunning. Maybe the most beautiful book that I own. I'm sure you've seen this everywhere. But I'm actually buddy reading this with 5 fellow bloggers. If you don't know, I am a book blogger as well, and that's really what started me on in the book community. So myself and 5 other bloggers are going to get together to read this, and that makes me so happy because I think this is a book that is meant to be buddy read. I think this is a book you're gonna want to discuss, and I think that's probably why I see so many reviews of this, because people just want to tell you how they felt about it. There's a lot to unpack on here, and we're actually going to be using the buddy read feature on the Storygraph for the first time, which is so much fun, and I will let you know how that experience goes. And I think with that feature, there are, like, as you get through, there are spoilers. You have to read to a certain part before all the information that somebody said about a chapter is revealed to you or something. I think it's really well thought out. I just love everything they do on the Storygraph, so I will update you on how that experience goes and on what I think about Babel. So I will slowly be making my way through this one throughout October, because we've sectioned it out into different chunks to read and then discuss every week. So I'm really looking forward to doing that. Nothing I love more than a good buddy read, and I'm just so excited about this. This book is just so beautiful, and let me show you under the dust jacket just in case you haven't seen it. Just stunning, and probably one of my most prized possessions. So I don't know that I'll actually read for this edition, but I probably will, because I'm gonna immersion read it. I think that's probably the best way to go. So that is my TBR for Gothtober, but I have a few more that I just have to read or want to fit in to my October TBR in general, because I just get so excited about spooky reading. I don't know what it is. So I have a couple cozies because I figured they're quick, they're fun, and good to break up some of the heavier stuff. Like after Babel, I'm sure I'm gonna need something light. So the first one I have is actually, this was sent to me from Macmillan, so thanks to them. This is 6 feet deep dish. So this is just a cozy, there's a cat on it, and a deep dish pizza with a skull. So many cozies are about food set in restaurants, and I'm sure somebody gets murdered, somebody that owns a restaurant is being framed for it, and they have to find who the real killer is. That's always seems to be how those books go, but I love it. And then some booktubers started a new book club called the Cozy Hollow Book Club, and it's all about reading cozy mysteries, which I was so excited about because I've been really getting into them. And their October pick is In the Company of Witches. And I've seen some really great reviews for this. And again, it's about a witch living in her aunt's B&B. Somebody dies, her aunt is framed, she has to find the real killer. So I think it's gonna be cute and fun. And I've been hearing fantastic things about that one, and it's got witches in it, so that is perfect. And then the last one I wanna try, this is a big book, this is ambitious because I think right now that's 11 books on my TBR, and I'll be honest with you, September, my reading has been slumping, but I'm feeling that motivation again. I think my new shelves are helping me get excited about it again. So the one that I really want to get to is Ordinary Monsters by J.M. Miro. This is like compared to Stranger Things and X-Men, and it's about these kids who all have these abilities. Big book, huge book, but I would love to get to it in October because I just think the vibes are right, and I pre-ordered this, so I really should read it. And I know like Jess Owens loved this. I think Olivia from Olivia Reads a Latte has really enjoyed it as well. So I have high hopes for it, and I hope it reads quickly. And I also have it on audio so I can immersion read it. So here's hoping that I can do that. So those are all the books that I plan to read in October. Let me know your thoughts on any of them. And again, let me know what readathons you're participating in. And thanks again for your support, for always commenting and liking and subscribing. You guys are all amazing. I will talk to you again soon. Bye for now.